I am convinced that coaches do not make it as a coach because of two things. One of two things. They don't think they have what it takes, or they don't have a community to remind them that they do have what it takes. My name is Cheryl Scanlon, and I am a fellow solopreneur. And unless you are an internal coach, meaning you're on the payroll with a company providing coaching services internally to the employees, you also are a solopreneur. Being a solopreneur does not mean that you have to go this alone. But that word solo can be an intimidating word. It means one, it means single. But as I said, it doesn't have to mean that you go this alone. I have learned this the hard way. And in my earlier years, sitting at this desk, which you see now, this is where I've been coaching for 15 years, I realized that I needed to find a community for myself. I've learned the dangers of not having a community around you. And I've also learned the huge benefits that you can experience when you do surround yourself with a community of like-minded people. The latest term that they're using for that is tribe. And as an MCC coach who has trained thousands of coaches and has watched, sadly, as many of them have walked away, not just from their profession, but literally from what they believe to be their calling, I want to be a vessel that God can use to help you stick with the plan that you sense He has for you. I'd hate to see you throw in the towel. There's too much at stake here. So today, we're going to focus specifically on the sense of building a community. How do you go about that? Okay, yes, you're flying solo, but that doesn't mean that you have to be alone. So let's look at this. This is sort of a quick game plan or quick tips for you around this building of a community. We want to keep these short, but hopefully that this is going to be helpful for you, because the reality is I'm not sure we even know how to build communities anymore. So maybe this is even going to be helpful in other areas of your life. So the first is to simply recognize your need for a community. I'm an introvert and I still need my community. That doesn't mean that I can't be around people. I need to be connected to other people. They need to know me and I need to know them. This is how God built us. This is how we were designed. This is the whole idea of gathering together, of one anothering with one another. And it doesn't mean that you're weak or that there's something wrong with you, that you need community. I hope you can put that idea outside of your head. That's not the case. You were designed for this. Community is good and it's important. The second part of that, though, so part of this game plan, is recognizing what you offer to a community. What's your place of contribution? In a community, everyone is giving to one another. So would it be experience? Would it be generosity? Maybe it's tough questions, or maybe it's encouragement. Maybe you have the gift of encouragement. So having a sense of who you are and what type of life you bring is super important to this community aspect. Dietrich Bonhoeffer has a wonderful book out called Life Together. And it's an incredible, it's short, it's only about 60 pages, but it talks about the importance of community and how we show up to community impacts us and the community. And in showing up, this helps us to ensure that we don't start to feel like a taker. Because I've talked to coaches who feel like they're takers. And this causes the coaches to shy away from the very thing that they need to participate in this community. It's amazing how sometimes we can literally talk ourselves out of just about anything, even the things that we need most. And God has designed us to have in our lives. So the third piece of this is understand the role of the community. So understand your need for community is point number 2. Understand your role in the community. And then this third part is to understand the role of the community for you. And there's actually 2 parts to this. The first is to understand what a community cannot do for you. Sadly, I have run multiple parachurch ministries at our local church and have worked with other churches. And so often I see people coming to church and they're disappointed because the church is not taking care of them, so to speak. And I want so bad to help them to understand, well, wait a minute, communities are not about carrying our load for us. They're about sharing our burdens with us when they get to be really heavy. But each one of us has our own load to carry. So even the sense of what community is supposed to be and the role that it plays in our life sometimes gets a little distorted. So understanding what the community cannot do for you as well as they can do for you. So here's what some things that they cannot do for you. They cannot rescue you from your problems. The community cannot do the work for you. The community cannot provide you with a cure. It can't take away your anxiety. It can't find your clients for you, or any of myriad of other things that we need, and can unintentionally begin to expect the community to do for us, which is an unreasonable expectation. And this results in a sense of disappointment. And then we do this quick exit strategy out of a community when we haven't even given it a chance to really do the deeper work that it can do for us, which is the power of being known and knowing other people, and the power of having this deeper connection, and to realize once again, as a solopreneur, you're not alone. So this disappointment can be a real tragedy, a travesty in that whole process. The second part of this is knowing what a community can do for you. And it's so funny because there were times when my son, David, he would be kind of complaining about going to church, and we never really even made our boys go to church. It was always really their own decision. But he's like, I'm not really getting that much out of church right now. And the wisdom of my husband, and he said, sometimes a community is not about what you're supposed to get out of it, but what you can put into it. And in that, great things can begin to happen. And my son really took that to heart. And oh my goodness, it changed the course of his life in terms of how he looked at his church community and what role he plays in that. So this is just kind of another angle to that same concept of what a community can't do and what they can do. So what can they do for you? The community can listen to you. The community can provide you new angles to consider. Wow, that's powerful too. The community can remind you you're not alone. That's pretty good too. The community, as they get to know you, can remind you who you are. Because don't we sometimes forget that for ourselves? I was just on the phone in a prayer meeting with a dear, dear friend of mine. And she was, as we were praying, she was reminding me of qualities about myself in Christ that I had forgotten about. And oh my goodness, it encouraged me so much. Well, if I didn't have that connection, I would start floating and getting more and more disconnected from myself. A community can also challenge you to think differently. They're not afraid to do that. And they can encourage you to not give up. And they can give you a place where people can celebrate your victories and walk with you through those tough times. So those are some powerful aspects of a true community. Now, if you can get this third aspect of what a community can and cannot do, you are in a great shape for building powerful relationships and creating a platform, a foundation for you as you build your business and not feel like a solopreneur. But if you forget these things and you mix that up and you begin expecting something from the community that it can't give you, well, it's not going to hurt the community as much as it's going to hurt you, because here's the thing. If you walked into the community frustrated, this could only wind up fueling your frustration. And it could potentially lead you to even thinking about quitting sooner. So this is what we're trying to avoid. We're trying to encourage you in your calling. So I want to encourage you to get to the purpose of the community figured out before you jump into one, because the answers are not going to start within the community. The answers are going to start within you, and understanding what is it that you want, and then what is it that you offer. And as those things start to get clear and those expectations become reasonableized, so to speak, new word, I'm always making up words, this could be super helpful. So how do you solve the sense of loneliness you might feel as a solopreneur? So my recommendations are with that concept of joining a community. And number one, recognizing your need for a community and that there's not a weakness in you. This is God-given, this need. Number two, recognize what you bring to a community. And number three, recognize the role the community plays for you as you build your business. Well, this is why we created Coach's Edge. Coach's Edge is a live virtual community of solopreneurs, solopreneur coaches specifically, who are encouraging one another even as we grow and learn from one another, as we're building our skills, building our businesses, preparing for our next credentials, so on and so forth. And part of the reason why I started Coach's Edge was because I needed a tribe. I needed a place that I could go to share and to speak and to nourish and to be nourished in that process. And we affectionately call ourselves at Coach's Edge off-roaders, because what we as off-roaders are learning how to stop being so focused on the rules of the road. We have to stop being students, so to speak, students of coaching, studying coaching, and we have to learn how to be coaches. And we want to be really explore this concept of being a coach in the outside world and also understanding who we are as coaches. That gets even deeper, because when you show up to your coaching sessions, it's not going to look the same way as what it's going to look like when I'm showing up to a coaching session. And if you try to be me as a coach, you're going to fail miserably. Vice versa, if I try to be you, I'm going to fail miserably because I'm not you. So we sharpen our skills to bring value to the clients. We grow our business, which helps to create sustainability to the business so we can keep working with our clients. And then finally, we have this credential renewal piece with ICF. It's very easy to get your CCEs for any credential renewal. We have 34 live hours every single year. And all that content then gets put in the on-demand library. So even if you have to miss, you don't want to be attending to a lot of live events and clogging your calendar with that, it's okay. It's still all accessible to you. So, and all this is in addition to what I was sharing with you earlier, that coaching community that's truly committed to their calling, even when they doubt it, and we all doubt that sometimes. And you can see some of the stats on our marketing page. 100% of the respondents of our coaches in our community have said that they're more confident as a coach as a result of being in this community. And that's just the beginning. We have those who are in the early stages of their business, and we have those in the community who have hefty six-figure businesses. Those who are in the early stages remind us of the basic elementary things we don't want to lose sight of us in front of us, and those who are in the farther along side of the business help those and pull them along as they're in those early stages of growing their business. So just like a real community, we are all together in this. I hope that you'll be able to explore the membership, and feel free to click on the link in the announcement. It will take you to our Coach's Edge landing page that'll have a lot more information for you. It's an exciting time, and we want to help you to be able to fly solo as a coach, as a solopreneur successfully, because you don't feel like you're alone in doing this. And we hope that you'll be joining us. Thank you for your time today. Check us out. Thanks so much.